Okay, so we have half of the skeleton built out right now. So if we go into wireframe mode and check it out, we have the left side of the character built out. And now we need to get the twist joints. So I'll show you guys how to build it manually, and then I also actually built a little tool, and I'll show you how that works to save us quite a bit of time. Okay, so we need to have 3 joints here in between this excuse me, joint and this joint, and then we're going to repeat the process between these joints and between these joints and between these joints. That will give us a little bit of a better, smoother transition in the way the geometry twist when we are doing different types of movements here. So how do we do that? We have to add joints and align them exactly, evenly spaced between them. So let's go to the rigging menu set. We'll create a joint, and I'm just going to place it here in the scene. Push enter on the numeric keypad to finalize it, and I have a joint here. Now we want it to be between this joint and this joint, so I'm going to select both of these. Then I'm going to want to select the joint that I am trying to align. Go to Constraint, Parent, and let's go to the option box. We want to make sure that the Maintain Offset is turned off, and that we are constraining all of the Rotate and Translate axes. Okay, so we apply that, and you can see that it gets it exactly halfway between these 2 joints. One is okay to do the twist, but we can add more and get even nicer twist attributes. So what we can do is deselect everything, select the joint tool, create it again, and then we will need to select both of these, select this one, and constrain it again. And then this time we want to make sure that it is 1/4 of the way on either side of here. So we're going to need 2 more. And the way we'll do it is that we have the weights here. So if we want it to be up over here towards the shoulder, we can put that at 0.75 strength for the weight of the constraint, and then 0.25 on the elbow's weight. So you can see it evenly spaces it out between this joint and this joint. And now we can do the same thing over here. So we'll create one more joint. Then we'll want to select the shoulder, the elbow, select this joint, constrain it, and then we're going to want the shoulder weight to be at 0.25 and the elbow weight at 0.75. There we go. So we have the 3 joints positioned exactly where we need them. So what we can do is Shift P to unparent the elbow from the shoulder, and then we would want to parent the parent this to that. Oh, okay, I know what's going on. Each one of these joints still have the constraints, so we don't need the constraints anymore. We can delete all of these constraints. We just use them to position them exactly where we need them. So now we can do what I was trying to do right there. We parent it together, select the child, and then select the parent, push P on the keyboard, and we parent it together. And then we have the joints with the twist joints in between. And that works pretty nicely. and eventually if we were to select them and rotate them with our setup, you'll get a smooth movement with the rotations and whatnot. So that is how you do the whole process manually. And obviously we would want to name these, and this would be something like L underscore shoulder twist 01 underscore J and T underscore bind. So we would name that, and then this would be the same thing but twist 2 and twist 3, and they're all associated with the shoulder, so we have the shoulder right before that. And that works nicely, but it is quite time consuming. So let's unparent this. So Shift P, it will unparent that. And here, Shift P, we unparent that. And let's delete this. And then let's reparent these joints here. And let's look at the tool that we built. We select 1, 2, and then I have it here on the shelf already. I click on it, and you can see how quickly that creates the joints. They're all named correctly based off of the joint that we have. So let's try that again here. 1, 2. So I'm clicking on the start and then the end joint. Then click on the button here. You can see that it names it the elbow twist joint bind, and it goes through and it's named all correctly. Now let's look at how this script works. Okay, let's just look at the bottom here and make this bigger. So this is the script that we have here. So I wrote it in Python. First line here, we are importing the Maya commands, and we're using a shorthand called MC. So we can see every time we're calling the Maya commands, we are calling MC. Then I write a function that is going to be repeated over and over when we call it down at the bottom. And it's called create twist joints. It has 4 arguments. So we have the twist name, the name of the twist joint. We also have the weight for the joint on how it's weighted with the constraint that we've created, and then a prefix. So that's going to be the name of the parent joint. So like when we were looking over here, it has this section here that's called shoulder. That's what we're calling the prefix there. Okay, then what we do is clear the selection, because if you have a joint selected when we're creating it, it's going to parent it automatically. We don't want that. We are creating a joint. Then we go in and we do the parent constraint. The parent constraint has the start joint and the end joint, which we create variables for down here. So none of this actually is happening yet. This is just creating a blueprint for what will happen when we call the function. The start joint, the end joint. Then we have a name here for the joint, what we want to be able to parent. Then we're telling it MO, which is maintain offsets. We're turning it off. And then we're giving a name to the constraint. Then we're setting the attribute of the constraint weight. So the start joint is going to be weight number 1, and then the end joint is going to be weight number 2 that we've defined here. Then we're going to delete the constraint because we don't need it anymore. So that's the blueprint that we've created. It hasn't been called yet, we just created it. Now, the things that are actually happening here in order will be, we're creating a variable with the selected items. It's creating a list of the selected items. The first item in that selection list, so we can see cell, it's the item there. The first item in that list, we're calling start joint. Then the second item in this list, we are creating a variable called end joint. Then I have 2 variables here that is, well, one variable, but we're changing it. So we have start name, and start name is equal to the start joint, but it's split up by the underscores. So basically what that does is it takes the shoulder joint, which is this first one, and then it creates a variable that is a list, and it holds the L, then the shoulder, then the joint, then the bind. Okay, and each one of them is in different slots. And because I have a consistent naming convention, I know that the first item is going to be the side, whether it's left or right. Then I'm going to add that underscore back in because it doesn't do that. When you split it over here, it basically deletes it and thinks of it as a separator. So I'm bringing that back in, and then the start name and the second slot, which is the name of the actual joint anatomically. So for the first joint that we did with the shoulder, that would be shoulder, and then we're adding another underscore. The reason we're doing that is because when we're renaming it, we don't want it to be like left shoulder joint underscore bind, and then we put like underscore twist 01, and then it's just keeps the naming convention so that we can name the joint in this section over here rather than doing it at the end. So we're breaking up the names so that way we can give them all independent names that make sense and stay with the consistent matter that we're doing. Print start name, that was just me testing to make sure that I got the name correct, so that doesn't actually need to be there for the code to work. Twist, create twist joint. So this is the first time we're calling this function here. I'm naming this twist1 joint, and it has a weight of 0.75, then 0.25, and I give it a start name. The start name is whatever the start joint is selected that we created here. And when we look at it back over here, the way it's named, when we create the joint, it's the prefix, so whatever that joint is selected at the beginning, which is the start name over here. Then we have a twist name, which is this. Then we add underscore JNT underscore bind at the end. Then we repeat this whole function over here again with twist02. We have 0.5 and 0.5. Start name, again, same process as the last one. Then we do twist 3, that is 0.25, 0.75, start name. Then once we've created all of those, we clear the selection. And then we go here and we start parenting, and basically with these we do make sure that everything is parented together the way we need it to be for it to work in the proper hierarchy based off of the twist joint. So twist 1 is, or twist 2 is parented to twist 1, twist 3 is parented to twist 2, twist 1 is parented to the start joint, and then the end joint is parented to the twist 3. So that's the way we get it all to work properly, and that's how we get the ability to just quickly select two joints, click the tool, and it creates all of the joints and named properly for us. So it saves us quite a bit of time, especially if we're rigging a lot of characters. Oops, wrong button. 1, 2, click the tool. There we go. So we have the whole left side of the character done. Also, if you guys want access to this tool, if you are in my class at RIT, it will be attached as a file that you guys can download. And then if you guys are watching this on YouTube and you want access to this file and not create it manually, since you guys can see the whole code here, you can create it manually if you want. But if you don't want to take the time to do that, you can get a copy of it on my Patreon. Alright, so let's finalize the base rig now. So what we need to do is make sure that we mirror everything over to the other side. So I'm going to go to skeleton, mirror joints option box, and we're searching for L underscore, replacing it with R underscore. Apply. We have it on the other side, and then push G to repeat the action. And we have the full bind skeleton now for this character. Alright, that is it for this lesson. We will see you guys in the next one.